As global dynamics shift and geopolitical landscapes evolve, the travel advisories for Canadian citizens are continually updated. In 2025, several countries have emerged as places where Canadians might face significant challenges or outright hostility. Whether due to political tensions, safety concerns, or diplomatic issues, it's essential to stay informed. In this video, we'll explore the top 10 countries where Canadians are not welcomed in 2025. Stay tuned to understand the underlying reasons and how these situations might impact your travel plans. If you feel our content is helpful, please like and subscribe for upcoming videos with global facts. At top 10, we have Niger. The Canada government's ability to provide consular services in Niger is limited. Canadians are advised to avoid all travel to Niger due to the ongoing political instability and the risks of terrorism, theft, and kidnapping. The political and security conditions in Niger are always very unpredictable. You should consider leaving the country by commercial means. Crime occurs throughout the country, including in the capital. Common crimes include muggings, theft, and armed assaults. In Niamey, petty crimes such as pickpocketing and purse snatching also occur. There's a high threat of kidnapping from terrorist groups throughout Niger. This includes the capital, Niamey. Terrorist groups and bandits have kidnapped foreign nationals. At top 9, we have Mali. Canada is a long-standing partner for promoting peace, security, and sustainable development in Mali. After the August 2020 military coup, Canada suspended all direct budgetary support to the government of Mali, while maintaining humanitarian assistance, bilateral development through trusted third-party partners to support the poorest and most vulnerable populations. Terrorist groups operate in northern and central Mali. They regularly carry out attacks targeting mainly the Malian security forces, including the capital, Bamako, due to the threat of terrorism, kidnapping, and banditry. If the security situation in Mali deteriorates, the ability of the Embassy of Canada to Mali in Bamako to provide consular services may be limited. At top 8, we have Venezuela. The Embassy of Canada to Venezuela in Caracas has temporarily suspended its operations. Venezuela is one of the primary sources of geopolitical tension and instability in the Western Hemisphere. The regime has developed illicit revenue sources with violent non-state actors, including transnational criminal gangs and foreign armed groups. The ongoing political, economic, and humanitarian crises in Venezuela and its impact across the region concerns Canada. This includes the judicial, executive, and legislative branches. It exercises full control over all decision-making, election outcomes, and legal proceedings. The regime has criminalized and silenced dissent by arresting and harassing political figures and social leaders, including human rights defenders and humanitarian workers. At top 7, we have Sudan. In Sudan, the humanitarian situation remains dire due to ongoing fighting and shortages of food, water and fuel, limited communications and electricity, and very high prices of essential items. Canada does not currently have trade agreements in place with Sudan and has previously had a modest trade relationship. On April 15, 2023, fighting broke out in Khartoum between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces. Due to the ongoing security situation, the Embassy of Canada to Sudan in Khartoum has temporarily suspended operations. With no end to the violence in sight, people are desperately seeking safety and protection, both inside Sudan and in bordering countries such as Chad, South Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the Central African Republic. At top 6, we have Yemen. Canada maintains positive yet limited bilateral relations with Yemen. Canada assures the importance of regional stability and supports efforts to protect Yemen's government, defend its territory, and improve stability in Yemen. Despite truce agreements, the security situation in Yemen remains highly unstable and unpredictable due to the ongoing civil war that started in 2014. The state of emergency declared in March 2011 remains in effect. Armed terrorist and criminal groups are still active in many parts of the country, particularly in the south. The humanitarian situation remains extremely dangerous in the country from several years of armed clashes between rebels and a coalition led by neighboring countries that conducted airstrikes on territories held by rebels in western and northern Yemen. At top 5, we have Afghanistan. The Canadian government announced that it had suspended operations at their embassy in Kabul when the Taliban seized power in Afghanistan in 2021. Canada has no plans to recognize the Taliban as the government of Afghanistan. The Taliban remains a listed terrorist entity under Canadian law. Canadians should restrict traveling to Afghanistan due to the volatile security situation, terrorist attacks, ongoing armed conflict, the risk of kidnapping, arbitrary arrest and detention, the high crime rate and widespread violations of human rights. Their ability to provide consular assistance and other support in this country is extremely limited. At top 4, we have Syria. Canada has not had a diplomatic presence in Syria since it closed its embassy in Damascus in 2012. The ability of the Embassy of Canada to Lebanon in Beirut to provide consular and other support throughout Syria remains extremely limited. The government of Canada has advised Canadians to avoid all travel to Syria since 2011. The security situation remains volatile. Localized armed clashes and airstrikes are ongoing in several governorates. Central and southern Syria are unstable and dangerous due to sporadic airstrikes against Iranian-aligned targets. Occasional active fighting between opposition and regime forces, as well as drug smuggling activities in the area, pose an additional security threat. At top 3, we have Iran. Canada and Iran have had no formal diplomatic relations since 2012. Iran has a long-standing history of abhorrent conduct, both domestically and internationally. Canada is also concerned by Iran's actions threatening international peace and security. Restrict moving to Iran due to the volatile security situation, the regional threat of terrorism, the high risk of arbitrary detention, and unpredictable enforcement of local laws. The Iranian authorities have arrested and/or detained individuals, including foreign and dual nationals, to exert political or diplomatic influence on their governments. There is no resident Canadian government office in Iran. The ability of Canadian officials to provide consular assistance is extremely limited. At top 2, we have Russia. Canada strongly condemns Russia's unprovoked and unjustifiable war of aggression in Ukraine, which violates international law and the UN Charter, and has called on Russia to immediately cease all hostile actions and withdraw all military and proxy forces from Ukraine. The armed conflict in Ukraine has led to armed incursions and shelling in areas close to the Russian-Ukrainian border. Drone strikes, explosions and fires have occurred further into Russia's interior. Terrorist groups have called for attacks on Russian soil. The ability of the Embassy of Canada in Moscow to provide consular assistance in areas bordering Ukraine is extremely limited. At top 1, we have North Korea. The Canadian government strongly advises against all travel to North Korea due to significant risks, including arbitrary detention and uncertain security situations stemming from its nuclear weapons development program and highly repressive regime. Canada's staunch opposition to North Korea's nuclear ambitions and programs, and as a result, contact between them has been limited. There is no resident Canadian government office in North Korea. Sweden is Canada's protecting power in North Korea. The ability of Canadian officials to provide consular assistance in North Korea is extremely limited. In conclusion, while these countries may present significant risks for travelers in 2025, it's important to stay informed and make decisions based on the latest travel advisories. Always prioritize your safety and well-being. Thank you for watching and stay safe. Leave a comment below with any questions or experiences you'd like to share. Until next time, safe travels.